Hello, everyone. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Chance. But today we have a very special guest. He's already been on the show once, but we actually didn't release the episode because we had some technical difficulties when I first started off. But we have released some clips together, pretty good clips. This is Black Spider Guy Advice. If you don't know him, now you do. He's on Instagram. He's got what, almost 400,000 followers now?
Well, I got 327,000 over there,
Okay.
183,000 on TikTok, 50,000 on Threads, and so on,
Yeah. So even more than 400,000 views across everything. He gives great advice for young men and older men how to deal with women in today's society of dirty just they're rascals is what they are,
Yeah,
right?
well, it's like a pit of sewage, unfortunately.
So tell us, you were telling us about your movement to Threads, and Threads is I guess I see it on Instagram. Apparently I have a Threads and I post on it, but I don't even know. I've never even been on it. I don't even know, what is it, like Twitter but for Instagram or
Pretty
something?
pretty much it's Twitter, but for Instagram, it's Instagram's desire to try and beat that. I just uploaded on there randomly. At first, nobody was really on it. As time went on, it's become more popular. A lot of feminists over there, a lot of liberal extremists over there.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
gotten really bad over there. I think one feminist was telling me she wants to try and make Threads feminist Twitter. And I was like, yeah, so I need to just be over here a lot more. So I've just been dealing with that, been combating that. And, recently with the whole ICE thing that's going on, with the lady, who driving cars into people, you know, a lot of women have now started saying things like, we see women marching and getting taken out of cars. Where are the men? And, I just made a nice little post. I'm not very political, but I made a post and I said, women said that men aren't needed for protection anymore. If I drive a car into people, why would I expect somebody like, I don't know, man, to come in and protect me? You have the bear, pick the bear. I don't understand why men are obligated to protect women, as now we're trying to destroy the patriarchy. We got to eliminate traditional values. That's bad. We need to be independent until the police are involved. Now the men need to come in and start protecting them. I find that to be very weird. Everything's fun and cool when the system's running and we go to Starbucks and get some matcha. But as soon as we start, doing some military strategic stuff that we really shouldn't be doing, should be at home taking care of your family. All of a sudden, men need to come in like, I don't know, like a military force. And, like I've been seeing, Threads, it's been interesting, man. Like you've got other men who are on the extreme liberal side saying things like, where are the men? And I'm like, men are going to work to pay bills and go to sleep, going to the gym and stuff, trying to invest money to not be broke. I don't want to.
Yeah, and that side of the political aisle too, they've kicked all the men out. There are no
Right,
men. You've kicked them
right.
out. You chose the
Oh
bear.
yeah, yeah, 100%. I'm an independent, but I have to admit this, and I have to be honest about it. The left side is very hostile towards traditional values, and feminists mainly reside on that side. And it's like you can't be angry when the strong, traditional men aren't there. Where are the strong? Well, they're not on your side because you want to tell them they're not men, tell them they're toxic. You get mad when they promote traditional systems. So now that the traditional system isn't there to protect you, uh-oh, who would have thought? Now you're gonna go to fucking jail, ice cold jail.
And it can be very serious because our society, if your society leans feminist or masculine, if it leans in one direction, it can go really
Yeah.
badly. Right now, our society over time has leaned in a feminist direction. So what does that lead to? I was at the store
Mm,
today, okay, just a
mm,
minute ago. I go in and I'm getting my stuff right, and I see this 300-pound
mm,
woman. No way she's got a boyfriend or husband of any kind. There's
mm,
no way. And she's got this little boy with her. And this little boy's like, I want a bag of
mm.
M&Ms. And she goes, no. She goes, no, mijo, no. And he goes, no, I want it. And he starts going, screaming and kicking his feet. And she's like, okay, okay, okay. And she gets it for him and she buys it
Right.
for him. And I just looked at her like, you totally. And you know, she's probably either been abandoned or abandoned a man in her life, which has led for this situation to go on. Because if a man was in this situation, he would have busted that kid's
Mhm.
ass or got him, at least got him in line,
Yeah.
right? Got him in line and said, hey, no, you don't get the M&Ms. I'm sorry. Because that woman now is teaching that kid that that's what you do in order to get what you
Mhm.
want. You cry like a little girl. What does that do for society? It raises a generation of men who are not actually men. That's what it does. And then on top of that, even worse, he's going to grow up and he's going to go spread that behavior onto his
Yeah.
kids and it will spread on. And that's how our society becomes
Mhm.
weak. And pretty soon, we're going to be like
Yeah.
Europe, bitching and
Well,
complaining about Greenland
I
getting
pray to
robbed.
God we don't become like Europe, man, because they're having classes now trying to teach little boys to think a certain way. Like, it's become what's that book? There's a book on this. It's like 1984. It's forget the name.
Oh, George
Yes,
Orwell's
yes,
1984.
yes. It's
Yeah.
becoming like that over there, and they really want to push that over here. Thank God men are still pushing against here because
Yeah.
over there, I think
Yeah.
they failed completely over there. It's done.
And I gotta say, I really think it's because we're allowed to keep our guns. We promote masculinity. At least the men do. We promote. We still have our masculine circles. Go to an MMA gym. Go to a Planet Fitness. Go to these places. You'll find the men. They're there. But at school and at colleges and all this other stuff, that's getting taken from them. But I'm always a big promoter that, men, we can't just go to spaces and go, "Oh, this is very like feministic and I don't want to be in this area. I think I'm going to jump out." No, we need to be in those areas and we need to emasculate those areas just as well. Because if you move in a feministic manner, you're going to be always behind the eight ball because they're just not aggressive. They don't care about even winning
Well,
in life. So like,
I'm glad you brought that up. I've been telling my followers, a lot of guys on threads, like, bro, have a spine. Like, just say what you want to say. They're gonna hate what you have to say, but get it off your chest. Get used to the anger. Get used to them being mad because they're gonna be mad no matter what. So you might as well have them be mad at you for just being yourself. A lot of guys have been taught to be extremely passive. A lot of guys have been taught that they need to just let the women kind of just, I don't know, like be in control. But then they wonder why the woman is like, you're not being a man. And it's like, well, yeah, because he's not willing to turn his aggression into forward momentum. It's not about being violent. It's about being in control of yourself, which allows for you to be in control of the environment. Can't protect anything if you're not violent, but within control. A lot of guys don't understand that. And that's not being taught. Instead, be extremely empathetic, be extremely soft. And it's like, bro, I'm literally a physical weapon. That's not me being extremely emotional is dangerous. I need to be in control. I need to be stoic. I need to know how to control my rage. And that comes from a male source of understanding. Thank God I had a military father that was able to break down how to do this, you know? Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that. So they got to learn from other people.
Yeah, I see that. Like, definitely in my, in kind of like politics on the social media side, you see on the left leaning side, like I have my crash outs, right? Like I'll crash out, but it's like the most I'll crash out is like,
Right.
come on, like not too much. And it's like from a place of anger a little bit more so, and like you're an idiot. And same with Nick Fuentes and all these right wing people in politics. But then you have the left wing people in politics that are supposed men. They are literally screaming at the top of their lungs in the camera. And they look so stupid. To me, they look so stupid. And I'm like, man, if I were to do that, it would be a never ending fountain of all of my closest friends making fun
Yeah.
of me for having a crash out. Whereas they are literally getting tons of likes for crying, like stomping on like a little girl, just like that kid in the store. And that's who they
Yeah,
are.
I remember I was on I was on a page that had a guy that was trying to have a conversation at a table. And the people immediately went up to the table and just destroyed it. And I'm like, if you can't live in a society where there's civil discourse, because I've even had people tell me like, oh, BSG, like, why are you talking to, like, people have said, why am I going on your show? Or why am I going on other white guy shows? And I'm like, listen, listen, listen. It doesn't matter if I'm black or white or this and that. We are all Americans. And we have to, at the end of the day, live in the same country. If we're at each other's necks every day and we don't have any kind of civil discourse, agree to disagree, work to build, we will end up destroying everything, and there will be nothing for all of us.
Well, BSG, not for long, because as soon as we get in power, we're kicking everybody out that's not white. So we won't have to worry about that. We've solved that problem, thank God.
But yeah, it's really bad, man. You know, Threads, I remember when Threads was a lot calmer. It's a lot more violent now. The feminist propaganda is insane. You have young men actually was having a conversation where these women were talking where they were cheering on the suicide of men. They were very happy about it. They were like, "Yeah, another man down." Yeah, it was really crazy. And I was just like, "This is insane. Aren't you feminists?" And a young boy came in and commented. He said, "Well, why don't you think about why they're cheering it on?" And I'm like, "Bro, do you hear yourself? You are a man saying it's okay for women to be happy that men are dying. And you're saying that there's a reason why. So can we flip that logic and can men be happy? No. Okay, then so why is it okay when they do it? This common sense that seems to not exist anymore. This level of, wait a minute, death bad, me man, they don't like men. That doesn't like that caveman understanding non-existent. And a lot of these sorry, go ahead.
What gets me about that is this is so funny because the left always claims to be the progressive party, the party living in the future of social dynamics. And then you tell them, why can't it be equal standards when it comes to men and women? Because you guys are promoting suicide of
Right.
men. And they go, oh, well, it's because of the systemic differences, the matriarchy that we've always lived in. Okay, so wait, hold on. You're saying we live in the past as conservatives because we want to value the things in the past that have worked, but yet you want to live your life like we live in the past. I thought we
Right.
solved that
Right.
problem.
Right.
We solved it, but you want to make us live in the past. They're the actual people who want to live in the past, not the
Exactly.
conservatives.
It's so weird, man, because I was explaining this to a feminist. I was like, okay, so you don't believe that men should have authority? She said, of course. I said, okay. But you want a man to lead? Yes. I was like, okay, so you don't believe a man should tell you what to do? No. All right, but you want a man to pay your rent? Yes. I said, okay. You believe a woman should be able to go out and do whatever she wants? Yes. Okay. But you also want to live a soft girl life? Yes. Okay. So what does a man get out of this? Well, a man has to do what he needs to do. So you don't believe in giving a man anything in return? Yes. He should want to do that because why? Because I'm giving him my time, but he's giving you time, money, attention, and his labor. So what is he getting out of you? Well, just you existing. He's giving you that and more. So I don't understand how this is equal. And then I'll get called, oh, you're a broke man. You know, you obviously don't
Oh,
like women. And I'm like, no, this is common sense logic that you're choosing to ignore because I've destroyed your logic. So the only way you can attack me is by attacking my character, the way I look, the mask and all of that. And that's cute. That's fine. I don't care. But you can't sit here and try to act like you're the moral superior or the logical founder of the universe. But I can easily disseminate your logic into pieces and show how fucking stupid it really is. And you are systematically destroying the very soft girl life that you supposedly want. Because as men become weaker, our society becomes weaker. That matcha and that cheap dress and all these little events you like to go to shut down because society becomes more dangerous. Because society, when strong men stop being strong men, it becomes a chaotic hell pit for which most of us will not
right.
make it.
And there's some women out there that are probably watching this. They're going to watch this because they're logical women and they want to fight back with what we're saying with logic. So for those women, I have a few things here that will prove to you that women will, one, never lead our nation or be the leaders of our civilization. And two, they need to back down on all this radical feminist crap because it will be at the detriment of humanity if they
It's
don't.
already happening.
The best thing they can do is go back to the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Here's what it is. So they did a study, okay, for the logical girls out there. They did a study and they found that women have a more aggressive approach towards people that are have political differences than them. So you always hear that typical thing of like a wife gets home and she wants to talk about her day and who did this and who did that, and her husband's just not really interested. It's because men don't care. Me and BSG and I, we probably have political differences, but we could probably sit down right next to each other and it'll be totally fine. Because we know if it goes to the next step, we get punched in the nose and we could
Yep.
die. Whereas women, that doesn't happen. So you guys live in a fantasy land where nobody gets punched in the face, and yet you're still more aggressive to people who don't think like
Yeah.
you socially. I mean, that's just hilarious. And that is why that's my belief on why, because I have women in my life who they hear my podcast, they hear what I say. Women can't drive, and they're like, "How could you think that?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I think that. So what? Like what?" So I know you probably don't think that. You probably think women should run the world. Okay, I can still sit here and have dinner with you and laugh and do whatever, but they can't. They're like this. They're like
Yeah.
crawling in their skin. They just can't stand that I'm
Or
sitting next to them.
Civil discourse is what allows for a society to run. Everybody has different views. Once you start acting as if everybody should believe the same thing, that's when democracy dies. And I mean, it's already kind of dying already. But
Yep. And for the second stat that I had, look up that study about women and political differences and how aggressive they are socially compared to men. I mean, it's off the charts. It's like even the most aggressive men are nowhere near the average woman, like nowhere near. And then you've got another big fact that you really got to get it through your thick head, okay? Women have never, ever, ever, never ran a society. Ever, because of forced doctrine. Yes, you know what forced doctrine
oh
is,
yeah, I
right?
talk about it all the time when I'm
Yeah.
debating feminism.
You do. I've heard you. Yeah, I've heard you. Of course you know what it is. Of course, right? And so even if you have women in positions of power, like in Denmark right now, laughing at Trump for wanting to take Greenland, and I don't know, protect our civilization. How funny is that? Oh, heaven forbid someone wants to protect us all from China and Russia. Oh no. But that's what I have to say. Look at history and you can clearly see, get back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Okay, thank you.
Well, so I'm gonna disseminate that just a little bit, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just gonna frame it in the way I would say it, which is women say all the time that they want a soft girl life. Women say all the time that it is a man's job to provide and protect. Women tell me all the time that a man's best place, he's more masculine when he's doing his masculine role. Fantastic. So then what does that mean for you as a woman? Wouldn't that also mean that your best place would then be where you used to be? It's not to say that you're less than. It's not to say that, oh, you're only limited to that. But it's to say that if my best place as a man is to function as a physical laborer, a bodyguard, the man that protects you from whatever's out there, then what is your best place, right? Common sense should allow for anybody hearing that to know what that is. That's all I got to say.
Right. That's exactly right. And now that I've appealed to the algorithm, and we'll probably get some clips from like a few clips that we have here, I'll now say a more in-depth version of what I just said as well, just to kind of clear it up. I think a big mistake that some of the people in the Andrew Tate manosphere make, I don't even know if it's a mistake. I think they're doing it on purpose to get clicks, obviously. But it's this message of that, like, no, women are less, women can't do what men can do. And here's all these examples of that. And there's tons of them. And so it just kind of like jams it down their face. Another message should be, we've let movies and pretty much our society romantically make what men do way up here and make what women do way down here. And we've done that, and that has caused women to want to be masculine and do what men do. And then they can't do it, and then they're frustrated with their life. I think what we should do is start promoting the things that women do as men. We kind of have to soften ourselves a little bit and say, hey, no, it's so important that women are in the house teaching our next generations to be good. It's so important. It's so important to take care of the household and be the queen of the castle.
I agree 100%. I've said that multiple times. When you have people like Myron saying things like, well, give them less. Well, okay, so why would women want to work with you if you're saying, give me less? That off the rip makes them not want to join your side. If the goal is to have women and men work together, you have to give them a benefit, a return on investment. Just like we want a return on investment. It has to work both ways. So I agree with you 100%. The wording definitely needs to be fixed. And this is one of my gripes I've had with Red Pill and the Manosphere, is that unfortunately, the people that are seen as the leaders, which there are no leaders of this, they have ruined it by basically saying these things And I don't understand why they would do that if the goal is for men and women to work together, which was the original point of all of this.
Yeah. And it lays that out in the Bible too. If you look at the Bible, because I get a lot of my, all the things that I think about in life, politics, life, I always try to go back to the Bible. The Bible is definitely a pillar of my
Okay, okay.
beliefs, or where I derive my
Right.
beliefs from. And, the Bible's very balanced in what it talks about. You have the story of the girl who comes to Jesus who, was with her, I think her third husband, and the whole village, all these men were going to rock her to death,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's almost equivalent to like an OnlyFans model going out into the public zeitgeist and all the manosphere going, oh, bad, 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 and throwing rocks on her, right? And he had mercy on her and said, hey, go back to your husband and sin no more. And so it shows this balance, this complicated, it's not black and white, it's more gray, depending on the situation. And that's how I try to think when it comes to men and women. I do like, I'm not going to lie, when a women, because women, like I just explained here with this study, they get really upset if you don't agree with them
Right.
politically. If you don't bow down today, it's pretty funny. So I lean into that a little bit because it's funny. When you say women can't drive, it really it really bugs them. And it's funny. It's funny to see them crash out
No,
about it.
yeah, I mean, trolling is definitely a fun thing to do, especially when you're not trying to actually go along with what you're saying, but you're doing it as a means to see what they'll do. I've done this a couple of times myself with just saying things like, for example, shh, be quiet, stay in your lane, things like that. Go clean your nose ring, stuff like that. And then they get mad, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was really easy. I do that because they do it back to me, but I always tell them at the end of the day, I love you guys. I told a feminist, I was like, I love you guys. I love you guys. Not your ideology, but I love women because I know that I want to protect women. I was made to be there for a woman. I want to provide. I want to be the soldier you need. But I, as a man, also need you to do what you're supposed to do. And our society is telling women, do whatever you want. And that's not how this works. A man shouldn't be at the mercy of a woman, which a lot of men are, and they call that love. And I'm like, but then you go home and you're crying and you don't know why. You go home and she doesn't want to talk to you, and you're in your bedroom alone and you're married and you're like, bro, why do I feel like that? Because you're not listening to the voice in your head that's like, wait a minute, I'm giving, I'm giving, I'm giving, I'm giving, and I'm not receiving. And I have this parasite that's draining me. And a lot of men are afraid to just say that because they've been raised in this society that says anytime a man suffers, he needs to be quiet. And the woman's happy, everything's happy. But if the man dies, then the house gets sold to the bank. So, you know, there's that.
It's interesting to me, like, we're on social media, you've seen my reels. I'm way out there on the political spectrum of being right wing. But I have a few girls on my Instagram, and I'm not a good looking guy by no stretch of the imagination. And yet these left leaning women are hitting me up on my DMs and stuff like this because I think that a lot of left leaning women, they're radical left because they don't have masculine people in their life, and they're actually wanting the attention from the masculine men. That's what I actually believe. And I think if American men if we came in, not all the time, right? Obviously, you have the hard-headed ones. No kidding. But if we came in and we were masculine around them and we weren't so apathetical to all of their crap, I think it would actually, I mean, we all know, if you're in a relationship for 10 seconds with any woman, there's something to be said about a guy who, like, kisses women's feet. They don't get no girls, no attention. But a guy who's just kind of like, oh, yeah, you're cool. Okay, I got to do my own thing. And they're focused on their own thing. Girls are, like, attracted to that guy. Why is that? Is it because girls want what they can't have? Is it because girls are attracted to guys that are interested in other things? Maybe that was something that that girls evolved to have because men that were focused on, living, hunting, fishing were the ones that survived and took care of the family. And so that's what we have to be as American men. We have to be masculine, and we have to confront these libtards and say, hey, I know why you're liberal. Let's be a little easy on it and say, hey, I know why you're a crazy liberal. You're a crazy liberal because you haven't met a guy like me.
No, I agree. You know what's funny? There's actually there was a poll done for AI. I think there was like what girls are looking up for AI, and I think one of them was Ice Agent, and the other one was Dominator. Yeah, there was yeah. I think it's like an AI role play thing. The third looked up
Yes.
role play AI character was an ICE agent, and I was just like, "What? Like this is your enemy, but you're role playing like sexual stuff? That's so." Look that up. It was. I was like, "What the what? That's so." Yeah, look that up. I was like, "Bro, this is just weird, man."
So true.
But I mean, it just goes to show you at the end of the day, a lot of ladies that are left leaning do want some form of masculinity at the end of the day because they are still women, just like men want soft women at the end of the day. I don't care what any of those guys that say, I'm fine with being submissive. When you get a woman that follows your lead, there's nothing. I've had that a couple of times in my life, and it is amazing. And it makes you want to be a man. It makes you want to be more masculine. It makes you want to be stronger. It makes you want to go and climb the tower. It makes you want to go fight the demons, but when you've got an individual acting
So
like she
true.
can do it herself, then it's like, okay, well, I guess you don't need that.
That's such a good point, what you just said right there. It makes you want to be a man when you have a soft woman at home. When you've got a queen, you're more likely to act like a
Right.
king. So true. So true. And if you are a girl and you have a bum boyfriend, maybe start treating him like a king at home. And who knows? Maybe it will motivate him to get up off his ass, stop smoking weed, and get a different job than Taco Bell, right?
Facts. A lot of people tend to forget that a lot of the inventions, art, music, philosophy came from men observing women. If it's like a lot of the stuff that you see in the museum in New York City is women, like they're women sculpted in marble. Dudes were so enamored by a female's beauty that they sculpted marble. Think of the motivation it took to do that. So it's like women tend to
Yeah.
forget your power is in your soft strength, not this physical, Imma be like, that's not where your power lies. But
I'm a boss
yeah,
woman.
I hate that with such a passion. Oh my god, bro, I can't tell you how much it literally lights a flame in my mind. Because it's like, you are not that, but you're acting this way because of propaganda that's been poured into your spirit. You need to wake the hell up, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. The interacting I've done with women, it's like I said before, they live a totally different existence. Now, some women, they might have a man in their life or somebody aggressive in their life where they're actually physically challenged by someone, but it's so rare compared to men. It's like they just have a different experience. Like I hang out a lot of the times with a female in my life and I see her on a day-to-day
Right.
basis. And I see even the way that like the people at the gas station treat her, right? So like when she goes in the gas station and gets gas, they just light
Mhm.
up. They just light up and they're so excited to see a young, good-looking girl. That doesn't happen with guys. Even if you're a good-looking guy, that doesn't
Nope.
happen with guys,
Nope, because 'cause we're
right?
not wanted to.
So it's just a totally different experience entirely. And then that's why we see, I hate to say it, but a lot of these feminist people, they're not the young, good looking gals. Some of them are, but there are a lot of the women that were good looking at a
Yeah.
young age and then they became ugly. And going through that has like, now they have to experience life like all we've had to experience this entire time, where not everybody wants to F you
Yeah.
all the time. So they don't treat you completely differently,
Yeah, I have a theory about that. A lot of these older women that maybe don't have anybody, don't have a partner, they attach themselves to the feminist movement because it's a giant sisterhood. And though they may not get the attention that they used to physically, they get attention through them being very loud and obnoxious. So it's still a form of attention, it's just from the negative aspect. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
So I'm
Future.
going to the Philippines next month. I'm going to be out there for about 24 days. And my goal is to go out there, and I have a friend out there. We're going to film, interview, just meet girls, talk to people from around the world.
Make sure they're
Oh,
girls.
well, trust me. See, this is the cool part. Over there, they'll tell you, right? They're not trying to pretend. They know that, they know what they are and they say it. That's what's beautiful about being over there. So they'll be like, yeah, I'm a lady boy. I'm like, okay, cool. Moving on. But
So what do you think of the lady boys? Or is that something you're interested
hell no.
in?
Hell no. Hell no. I'm good on that, bro. I'm a man and I like women. I
All
don't
right.
need that. But I will say this: whenever I go to Asia, whenever I go over there to it, they're very religious. They're very family oriented. They say hello, sir. They say good morning. There isn't this hostile energy that you feel in America. That's why I've gone so many times. It's very welcoming, it's
Wow.
very easy to talk to somebody over there. I remember I went over there one time and I was in a store and I was looking around and a girl came up to me. She's like, "Are you lost?" And she literally like helped me in the mall. And I'm like, this is just such a random experience. I don't feel like I'm some kind of threat that they're trying
Yeah.
to fight. Like they genuinely want to. So where are you from? I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then I remember I
You know what?
sorry, go ahead.
I've experienced some bit of that even in America. Like if you go to California, LA, right? It's like women hate
Yes.
you. They hate your
Yeah.
existence. It's insane. Especially like if you're a masculine man or I'm not tall. I don't look masculine, but they can tell I'm a straight white
Right.
guy, so they just hate my
Yeah.
guts, okay? But if you go to like, the South, you get a different energy a little bit. It's like and especially a smaller town, it's a little bit of like everyone's just like
Yeah, when
nicer.
you're in
I don't
Tennessee,
know.
Tennessee is like that, definitely. It's just you feel like this kind of relief of being able to be human and not being seen as some kind of object. But when I remember I did an interview with a girl when I was in the Philippines, when I was in Cebu, and I asked her, I was like, "What is a man to you?" And she broke it down so eloquently. She's like, "I need a man in my life." I was like, "I've never," it's like, "You said I need a man in my life and you want to be close with him and close with God." I was like, my God. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I've just haven't heard a woman say I need a man the way you did in such a soft and eloquent way in such a long time." Girls wonder why men go overseas. That's one of the reasons. A lot of girls over there haven't been indoctrinated into the I hate men movement, i.e., feminism, and they're raised by religious people and grandma, grandpa, their dad, and they still have this understanding and appreciation of masculine values. I remember I was in a Uber over there, and the driver was like, "Hey, can I go pick up my kids real quick?" He picked up his kids, he picked up his wife. He's like, "Can I show you my house?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So he showed me his house and his wife was cooking and stuff and the kids were running around. I was like, "So how is it being married, man?" He's like, I love my wife. My wife is always there for me." And I was like, this is so different from what I'm used to. This is why I tell dudes you need to go to the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, go to Japan. I would even say go to Italy, go to Rome. It's just different. People live longer over there for a reason. The stress isn't so high. There isn't this competition of, I'm a woman, you're a man, who's the boss? It's like they understand that there are jobs that need to be done and that there's the balance. And I really love that.
So, what is your relationship status like? Is there a black spider woman
So
in
I'm
your life,
talking,
or are you disclosing
I've
that?
been talking to a couple of people, but I'm very particular.
Is it white spider woman or black
Well,
spider woman?
I like all women, black, white, whatever. But I always say this because, I work a lot. I'm always doing things. So if I'm investing in a woman, I need to make sure I want a family. I'm not out here trying to sleep around and I'm black. I'm not trying to match the stereotype. I want to be like my father. My father's been married for 41 years. He's got a house, big yard. I want that. So I date with intention. And I'm talking to some people here and there, but I always say if they're not trying to have that family, like I had to stop talking to a girl because she's like, "I don't want to be a mom." I was like, "All right, have a nice day." I I'm I really need a woman that wants to have that family life. So I'm talking to some people. We'll see how that works out. But I'm in no rush, man. I've had my fun. I've had relationships. I'm not in a rush, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting that, you went about it that way. I know, obviously, I'm on the right side of the political
Right.
spectrum, and one of something that's really messing up our nation right now is our native birth rate, right? The people that founded the nation, that were here for a long time, they're going
Yeah.
extinct, and we're flooding our nation with a bunch of other people. So, but the reason why we're flooding our nation in is because our birth rate's
Mm.
down. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, we shouldn't have all these new people in. Well, then how is our country going to grow and how are we going to do things? We have to boost our natural or our native
We
birth
do.
rates. Well, how do we go about doing that? Well, if you look at the communities like the Amish and even my church's community, they have kids a lot younger. Like all of them, get pregnant like 18 years old. The women are so eager to have kids and start a
Mm,
family as soon as they turn 18. And a lot of the times they even have kids before they're 18. And I don't know if that's
right.
good, but they do this. And it's been so, I mean, I know I had my son when I was 16
Mm,
years old. And everybody at the time was just like, your life's over. That's it. Your life is over. And I'm like, wait a minute, how is my life over? And they're like, well, because it's going to hurt you in college and throughout life and financially. And I'm going, wait, what's life? Why do you make the money in the first? Don't you make money to then have
right.
kids, right? And I understand the perspective of like waiting, making a career, and then having kids. I get that perspective, but me having my son has only helped my life. It's only caused me to be more motivated and to actually try to
Well,
have a home life
I think
that
what
is
you're
secure.
experiencing is just the way things used to be. I think that our society constantly prioritizes just objects, people, sleeping around, and it doesn't prioritize things that matter. That's why the depression rate for women is so high. Because there's not this thing at home that allows for you to go, relax. I'll give you an example. My father, I always ask my dad, Dad, why don't you go on vacation? He's like, why do I need to go on vacation to have my family? And I never understood what he meant by that. I was like, what do you mean, Dad? Like, you can go out. He's like, why? I have my family. I don't understand what you mean. And my father told me this. He said, every time you try to leave or buy something this extravagant thing, you're eventually going to have to come home. And if your home isn't where you want to be, then you need to fix home, right? Because what you're searching for out there is eventually going to fade out. You need to find something and create something that really matters. And and he still tells me to this day, he's 67 years old. He always tells me, at the end of the day, all you have is your family, son. All you have is your
Such
family. He said, you know how many friends I've had? They're all dead, they're all gone, or they're in jail. He says, I'm the only one left. And he's like, I got my wife, I've got my sons, they're all strong, they're all healthy, they went to school, no babies randomly. He says, I'm happy with what I've been able to create. Why would I need to
That's
find
awesome.
anything else? Those things, he said, drinking is going to kill me. Smoking is going to kill me.
Yeah.
He says, I have a gym in the basement, I work out, I talk to my wife, we talk, she cooks, we have a good time. And now that I'm a little older, I understand. It's like, damn, man, I really get what he was saying. Because I've been to the clubs, I've traveled around the world, I've partied everywhere, I've done everything. And it's like, damn, I really wish I had a woman in my life. I really wish I really want a child. I really would love to have a daughter or a son. I really want to have a family because when I'm old, that's all that's really gonna matter. And I think that a lot of these younger feminists, because they're youthful and they feel like they got all this time, they feel like the party never ends. But when they get old, because I work in a hospital, man, I watch people die. And I've had nothing but older women and older men tell me, have a family, have a family, make sure you have a family. I wish I could talk to my son. I wish I could see my daughter again. Like nothing, they don't talk about how many drinks they had. They don't talk about how much money they had. They just wish they could be held. Like I had a patient who was telling me, she was like, I wish I would have had a child. And then she died the next day. And it's like, damn, like that's why. And this was a woman that had money. This was a woman that had means. And the only thing that was on her mind on her deathbed was, I wish I had a child. Boom, gone forever. And it's like, I really want a kid. Even I'm independent. I like working out, but I would love to give to my child the next generation. But a
Yeah.
lot of people tell me, oh, Spider Guy, you're going to miss out. And it's like, I work in pediatrics. I work with children and babies. It's only difficult because you say it is. It's only difficult because you think it is. If you create processes, if you create algorithms, way to do things, it becomes just another thing you have to do. And my dad always says, you're gonna be stressed no matter what. So you might as well stress about something you love.
That's right. And there's something that's like, yeah, it's in our DNA to do this. And so when you do it, there's something that happens in your brain. It's not the same. People that don't have kids, they look at people having kids and they go, oh, well, yeah, it's their dad, da da da. They love them, they love their kids and blah, blah, blah. But when I see fights like on the basketball courts of parents going at it or on the wrestling room, parents going at it, it's like another level. There's something in your DNA that wants you to fight for your child. When people say, I will die for my kids, you see a mother say, no, I will literally die for my kids. I used to go, oh, yeah, right. We'll all die for each other. I'll die for my best friend
Right.
too, right? Yeah, okay. No, you will. When you're a parent, you actually will. And feeling what that feels like changes your idea about like
Man.
humanity. Because you also remember everybody was a kid that had a relationship. Well, not everybody, but most people had a parent and a child, and that was their
Hmm.
relationship. And you see that, and it makes you look at everything a little differently. Even politics, even your adversaries, you look at differently once you have kids. Because you know that, hey, you don't know what went on when they were a kid. You see all these other kids that interact with my son, and it's like, man, they have issues and things like that. And you can clearly see
Right.
why. It's because something happened in their life. Their parents did this or did that or didn't do this or didn't do that. And yeah, it really makes life a lot more complex and it makes it a lot more special.
That's beautiful. Yeah, man. I try my best to explain this to people. Like, at the end of the day, like, really, you're doing all this for what? Like all this money. If you become rich and you don't have a family, where's your money going? Oh, we're gonna put it in a like who you want the state to control everything? You want the state to control why you worked all that time just to give it to the bank? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So the lineage and legacy is definitely important, not just for men, also for women, because a lot of women think it's just a man thing. It's a woman thing too. That's your child. And it's important, man. And like you said, at the end of the day, if we really don't reel in this birth rate, and what's going to happen when we're old, man? There's going to be more old people than ever before, barely any young people. The schools are going to be shut down. Businesses will shut down. Toy maker companies will shut down. Anything that has to do with being young is going to basically disappear. And then we're just going to free fall,
Oh,
man.
that counts on having more young people in the future. And if you don't, that system doesn't work and your nation goes
Yep.
bankrupt. And we see that in areas that have low population
Mm.
rates. They have to have the
Yep.
immigration in. That's why they're doing
Hmm.
this.
So
And
I keep telling
so,
people feminism is cancer, man. People can keep telling people that they're not going to realize it until one day they go, "Oh my God, what's happening? The pensions are gone. What's going on? The dollars of it. What's happening? I haven't seen a child." And when that happens, that's when people will realize, wait a minute, this ideology was really bad.
yeah. And I actually might have an idea on how we can maybe promote the birth rate. We could take like, those women that have like 12
Right.
kids? We could get their Instagram and we could do cool edits. You know how you have like you have like the like Chad that's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do, and it's like him going to the gym, him doing all these workouts and stuff. We can have that, but for the women that have 12 kids. She's like carrying a baby, she's like burping them, and then she's like doing things, and it'll
You
be
got
like
to
a
be
cool
careful.
song and an
You got to
edit.
be careful because there are things like that. They're called trad wives, but a lot of those trad wives are just OF models, but for conservatives.
I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah. I've noticed too, because originally I was really big on, yeah, yeah, and then I was like, wait a minute, they're selling like lingerie. Like, what is this?
And just like anything, yeah, they're using that to get the attention. Just like anything, you can go too far down. I feel like you can go too far down the trad wife thing,
Yeah.
right? It's like, look, we all want a traditional wife, of course we do, but there comes a point when it's like, man, you see some girl and she's wearing like an old timey dress and she's like knitting in her spare time. It's like, no, you're not a trad wife, you're
Yeah.
psycho. Okay, go on Instagram. You can go on Insta. You can have social media. You can be
Yeah.
normal. You don't have to be so
Yeah. They're,
crazy.
they're
Like
like,
they take it
yeah,
way too
they're
far
like
some of the
making
time. But
butter in the freaking churn. I'm like, what are you doing? That's, why are you making butter? It's 2026. Stop it.
some of it's cool. Sourdough's
Yeah.
delicious. The sundresses are
Yeah.
awesome. All those things are great. But just maybe some of them, because obviously on my side of the political spectrum, I see a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
them. And it's like some of them need to dial it back just a click. We do live in today. We don't live in the
Yeah.
1800s,
Yeah.
right?
They don't. I mean,
So
there's
yeah.
some weak guys that'll fall for that, but men that actually know what they're, men that are actually, I don't want to use the word men that are actually men, but men that are masculine genuinely are like, yeah, that's a lie, but okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's some right now that have really taken on that persona, and now their whole thing is about it. And so what happened is that was real big for a second, the butter and or making sourdough, butter, all that. And they would do like political takes with it, but now it's gotten so far into it, and now they're kind of switching up, and then you'll see them in like normal clothes, and you're like, what's going on here? And it ruins everything. It just ruins their career and their influence and everything. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You see him at like Planet Fitness or so, like a gym or something with gym clothes on. You're like, wait a minute.
Wait, you're normal?
Yeah, I think you're. There you go.
Sorry about that. I got like a fish thing. My bad.
All good. So, anything in the news right now that you've seen? I mean, obviously, we have the ICE situation where a dumb girl tried to run somebody over with a car, get shot in the head. Who would have thought, right? But have you heard anything else in the news that's kind of? I did see one girl, one crazy bat. She was in Congress. Was it Congress? I think it was
Uh-huh.
Congress. I forget who it was, but she said that everyone's focused on the Somalian fraud. But what we need to be focused on is the real enemies of the US, which are white men. We need to look at
Oh yeah,
fraudulence of white
so
men and consider sending them back to Europe. That's literally what she said.
that, and also what I think there's like a lady that works for Mondani here in New York City who was saying that owning property was like a white, what was it, white supremacy. My issue with that, and I've said this many times, and some of my black followers don't like it when I say things like this, and it's like, you do realize that white people are a part of your country, right? They're people, right? And if you say white man bad, right? How does that fix anything? I always say, how does that fix anything? I've said this to my grandmother too before. I was like, yeah, white people are evil. I'm like, not to me, but okay. How does that fix anything? Are there bad white people? Yeah, but there's also white people out there that are starving, that are homeless, and that don't have anything and are using Section 8. They shouldn't be treated like trash because of their skin color. And I've had people tell me, "You're a traitor." How am I a traitor for caring about people? I don't care if I'm black, I'm white, and I'm Hispanic. I have white people in my family. I've got black people in my family. I've got Hispanic people in my family. But I'm a very logical person. At the end of the day,
So the so you're a logical person, so you know that the white people are the best, right?
well, I know that as far as looks are concerned, as far as men being able to get women, white guys are wanted more so, and I think black guys are second. I know that white people usually in general have more money, though Asians, it's Asian first. Asians have more money, then it's white. I know that there's certain perceptual views that, white people are smarter or more beautiful, but I don't really care about those things because I care about me. I know that I'm intelligent. I know that I'm smart. Then even if you see me, oh, he's a black man, I'm going to show you that that stereotype is bullshit. And I've been able to do that every single time. Stereotypes exist. It is what it is. And sometimes it's just true. However, if you can showcase that you're above it, then wow, you did it. I don't worry about what people think of me. I want to show you what you think of me is trash. That's how I live my life. People don't like that. I don't see myself as a part of a group. There's me, my dad, my brothers. That's it. I got my family. That's it. I'm me first, whatever the hell the universe says second. And I feel like, if you tell a whole bunch of guys who are white that they're the enemy, well, what are they going to become? They're going to become the enemy. Epic. You hate me, right? Yeah. I'm the villain, right? Yeah. So a couple of radical ones will come together and they'll start to actually become the enemy. Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you alienate groups of people for their skin color, but then at the same time say you're all about inclusivity? It doesn't make any sense. Well, they're white and the past, all the white people that you're angry at are dead in the ground. They're dead. They're dead. Can we move on? Because it's just like, it just holds us back like every time.
Where you have like real racism, right? Where like people hate people because of their race, and people think that that's who I am, but I'm not that at all. But I do make jokes more than the typical white person does,
Right.
right? But all men, first of all, men make racial jokes to each other. If you've been on a football team or if you played any sport, you know that racial jokes are probably the number one joke that's made between men in
Right.
America. Whereas if women were to hear those jokes, they want to keep everybody in their social order. And the social order is that you can't make fun of blacks, you can't make fun of Hispanics. Now, blacks and Hispanics, they can say a few things, they're allowed to say a few things, but that is the social order that they've established, and they want to keep you accountable
Mhm.
and make sure that that is how we're going to do it. And that is hilarious to me because it's like, yeah, we all act this certain way, at our job. We got PR, we got all these firms online, right? But then when men are by themselves together, like in the room by themselves, it's haywire, right? because we don't have women there making sure everyone is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's funny. Life is funny sometimes. We're different. God made us that way. And that's actually a cool thing. It doesn't always have to be this, crazy radical war going on socially all the time,
Yeah, it is. It's definitely exhausting. People tell me BSG. I mean, I've been doing this for 9 years, bro. Fighting feminists for 9 years. Because yeah,
Wow.
man, I've made a lot of different costume changes as time has gone on. And then I chose this character specifically because it would be something that people can gravitate to, and it'll allow for people to be like, well, who's that? And then I can tell you the truth. You know, I started back in like 2017, man, because it's just I saw this, the Me Too movement at first, okay, yeah, don't bother women, and then all of a sudden it turned into we hate men, and then the kill all man movement and the 4B movement, and it's all these movements, and I saw this happening, and I was like, I wanted to stand up against it, but in my way, my goofy little meme way. But I always tell women, like, I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I love you. That's why I talk about it so damn much. Because if I ever have a daughter, and I hope I do get a daughter. I hope I do get a daughter because, people be like, I would never want a daughter. I hope I get a daughter because I'm going to showcase to the world that at the end of the day, you can instill certain values. You can showcase to your daughter that she can be, independent. But at the same time, give her give her the understanding that there's this natural order, and that if you really want a man to be this way, you want a man this way, you're gonna have to act in accordance to that, and not just fill her mind with, yeah, you don't need no man. Because I would hate my daughter to be alone. I would not want my daughter to be this strong thing that deep inside wants somebody like daddy but can't find one because she's too like angry all the time. I've had a feminist literally tell me, "Oh, I hope you get a daughter." I hope I do, because she's not going to be insufferable like you. I want women to understand.
Yeah, the number one thing you want for your daughter is for your daughter to find a good man who can protect her and will not betray
Exactly.
her. That's the number one thing you could want for your daughter.
Exactly.
I mean, 100%.
Exactly. I can't wait to be a dad. People are like, oh, I can't wait. But I'm gonna cry so fucking much when my child is born. It's like I can't fucking wait, bro. That's gonna be the best day of my life, bro. I'm gonna be so excited. People talk about, oh, I'm gonna get, I want to be rich. If I ever become rich, cool. But holding my child, bro, I'm gonna cry so much, bro. Oh my god, just thinking about it makes me like feel.
Speaking of being rich, because you said you've been doing this for 9
Yeah,
years. You've got how many followers across all your platforms,
I'm
would you say?
almost to a million
600,000 probably?
altogether. Almost to a million.
Oh my gosh, 1 million followers altogether. Are you doing a YouTube, or what do you have
So
going on as far as financial stuff going on?
long time ago, I made money. They cut that away from me, so I don't make any money actually doing this at all. Zero.
What did you used to make
So
money doing?
Instagram used to give me $300 a month. I was really ranking it in. People were donating a lot. People used to buy a lot of merchandise. Then they cut that out. YouTube, when I first started years ago, they took my channel down for one video. I had to restart. They changed the rules for monetization over there. Facebook keeps wanting me to not get monetized over there. And I think it's just because of what I create that, they really don't want me to make money off of that. And that's fine because I invest my money in crypto and in stocks, and I do pretty good over there. I've got my money strategically placed because I know that the monetary system is changing, and I'm an economics nerd, so I know what's happening. I'm not stupid, but I think it'd be pretty cool to become rich without making money off of the system and still saying what I need to say. Because when I become rich, I'm just gonna amplify my voice even more. Because I really would like to fund people just like me. I'd like to create like a network. I've said this before, of people who say things similar to me, like you, me, a couple other people on both sides of the spectrum. Because you don't want to be an echo chamber, and I would like to fund this because so much of mainstream media wants to silence independent thought. And that is the mainstay of what makes America what it is. And I fear for the future. I am so fearful of the future. So I want to protect.
We're not going to save America if men can't say what they want. Not going to happen.
Exactly. And I don't want what's happening in the United Kingdom to happen here. And
Ugh.
God forbid, if I have I have a son, and my son comes home. He's like, "Dad, they told me that being straight is bad, or that being a boy is weird." I'm gonna be so angry, bro. Especially with the content I make, bro. I might even go up there dressed like this and be like, "Hey, excuse me, you know who I am?" Because it's just, bro. I can't imagine a world like that. So I'm gonna do everything in my power. I hope I become rich.
Have you have you seen the UK's leader Starmer? Have you seen him?
Yeah,
Or like Macron, whose wife is like way older than him. She was 40 when he was 15 or
that whole
14.
situation with the French president, how he met his wife, is like what
That's insane.
wild.
That would never, like, okay, say what you want about
Right.
America, but our presidents, even the left-leaning ones, have been masculine men. Like even Sleepy Joe, even Obama, even all of them. They've all been masculine.
Right.
Okay. Europe has the most gayest leaders I've ever seen. And I really think it's because they don't allow their men to say what they want. They don't allow them to. Literally,
Wait, hold on. Hold on. The audio's not syncing with the video.
can you hear me?
No, I can hear you, but your audio didn't sync with the video. Hold on. Maybe it's me.
Yeah, mine's good.
Hold
On
on.
this side.
Hold on. I switched my Wi-Fi.
Technical difficulties, guys.
You there?
Let's see what's going on.
I see you now. I hear you now. All right.
Yeah, so anyway, Europe, they got gay leaders, and it's mostly because they don't have freedom of speech, and men aren't allowed to say what they want to say. I mean, it's really that simple. So hopefully, in America, we can keep that, and what you're doing, trying to promote that, that is something we definitely need to be pushing for, because you have these radical feminists that are doing what you're doing, but in the other direction, full speed ahead. They're making it their life's mission.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I make so much content all the time. People say, "Yo, BSG, you make something." It's because there's like it's like a company out there that's giving all these women money to just make as much male hate content as possible. And so that's why I make so many videos fighting against each feminist content creator, because I want there to be the other side. Once you keep the other side from being able to say its point, there's only one side that's heard, and that becomes the loudest voice in the room. The manosphere, I really believe, is almost nature's way of kind of saying, wait a minute, there's this other side you're not paying attention to. And I really think that's one of the reasons why feminism stopped growing as fast, is because there's a manosphere, because there's men critiquing, because there's men saying, wait a minute, that's kind of stupid. I feel like if there wasn't a manosphere, I don't even know what America would be right now. Me and other content creators that push against it, if we didn't start in 2016, 2015, I don't know what we look like right now.
So true. Literally, I think it saved America. No doubt about it. That is 100% true.
Kevin Samuels,
A lot of the men that, people of color didn't typically turn out for Trump, but they did because of the manosphere. A lot of Latinos, a lot of black men, because the Democrat Party hates men. I mean, look at Tim Walz. That dude is not a man. He looks weak and gay. And so all of the men saw that and said, well, who am I going to choose? I don't agree with everything Trump says, but at least he's a man of some kind. And so luckily we had a pull through from the men, Latinos and blacks, more historically than ever before. So that was something that helped at least the Republican Party. I'm not even going to say, I'm not MAGA. I criticize Trump all the time, but I would say that it definitely helped, in that direction for sure. Now, Trump's come out and said he's for gays and everything else. So
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
even
I
know.
personally,
He's
I'm
part of
not
it.
against anyone being gay or anything like that. Practice whatever you want. But my thing is that definitely I will say that the manosphere did get a lot of men to become Republican. I saw that turnout. I saw that, and now that's why you have a lot of Democratic individuals trying to get back the male vote. Though I don't know how they're gonna do that, because their whole thing is like, we don't need men. So it's like, well, if your whole thing is we don't need men and girl power and the future is women, I don't know how you're gonna get the male vote back, because men don't want to hear that bullshit. Like, I'm supposed to pay all the bills.
That's what's so funny to me. That's what's so funny. And I tell this to like a lot of my black and Mexican friends too. It's like, hey, don't forget, they're hating on the white men right now. That's their number one enemy. But as soon as the Latinos or the blacks get in positions of power and they start outcompeting the women, just like we do, you'll be the number one enemy right behind us. Like, they don't care. They'll switch up and go attack you. They don't give a
As
rip.
long as you're a man, you're definitely going to be attacked. I tell people this all the time, but they don't want to listen. And I tell people, like, we got to work black, white, Hispanic, men. We all need to get together and fight back against this political movement that's just.
Hey, look, it's simple. I've said it before. We got to kick out the Jews. Black Spider Guy.
God.
That's the real.
I have a lot of Jewish friends. Yeah, it's because I have a lot of Jewish friends. But I will say that there is a group of individuals that do control a lot of stuff and that are moving money in certain areas that is affecting definitely a lot of other things, especially the feminist movement. But on that note, Chance, I gotta get out of here. I gotta.
Okay, brother. Have
You
a good one,
bro. As always.
Guys, this is the Paint the Town Red podcast. Follow Black Spider Guy on Instagram, and you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you later.